Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life School 101 TV. We are so excited to be here with you today. We have a fabulous topic and guest. And first, I want to introduce my executive producer and co-host, Linda Carbonneau. Hi, Linda. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm great. How are you, Mary? You know, I'm really glad.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have Rudy as a guest today. I mean, for me, when I had cancer, it was really hard to talk about it and things like that. So, I didn't have anybody to talk. So I'm so glad we're going to start this group in Power Through Cancer too, or that's going on now actually. So we've got some good members. So do you want me to ask Rudy the first question? I have a question for Rudy.
Okay.
Shoot. Well, let me go ahead and introduce him.
Oh, yeah,
first.
We haven't introduced him yet. Go ahead.
It's all great. It's
So
perfect
good.
flow.
We can make funny.
So, that's right. So I want to introduce Rudy Rodolfo Sada. And this is someone who is so close to my heart. He's one of my best friends in the world. We met each other, it's going on almost 13 years at Unity. And since then, we've gotten to raise our children and get to know each other, but we've also been through a lot of life challenges together. And Rudy has an amazing story that I want to share that also goes into a platform that we talked about years ago to help support people going through cancer called Empowered Through Cancer. And I have a team of amazing people that are really dedicated on helping to bring people through that journey. So Rudy, thank you so much for coming on the show and welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
Welcome, Rudy.
Linda, nice meeting you. I'm very excited to be here with you guys. So how do we start? Just let me know and I'll follow you.
That's one of the questions I was gonna ask anyway. In the beginning with is where do we start with this? And I think Rudy, I'd like to see your journey from beginning. And I know you also wrote a book, and so I want to talk a little bit about that. And I know for Empower Through Cancer to me is for us to get together and be able to share our spirits, our hearts, and things like that. That's what it is to me. So, but I'm going to have Mary ask you questions about your life because she knows your life more, and if I have a comment, I'll jump in. How's that?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mary.
So, Rudy, here's what I want to start out with. I'd love for you to tell people a little bit about your journey because you are a fascinating man. That's one of the things that I love about you is that you're multidimensional and you've got so many different talents and gifts to give to this world. So just tell us about yourself.
Oh my God, well, thank you. Now it's going to be harder for me to talk about things after that introduction, Mary. But no, I mean, I think that it's just things have happened to my life. I mean, I don't think that I'm anybody special. It's just that, different challenges have happened through my life. And I think that through sports, I mean, I grew up playing golf and I actually played professional golf and I became a professional golf instructor and pretty much my whole life was golf. And golf taught me a lot of lessons on life that kind of like helped me go through different stages in my life, right? And one of them is that you always need to be recuperating. Like putting back, like if you miss a shot in golf and you go to the trees, well, you need to put it in play, right? And as quickly as possible and recover as fast as you can. And that kind of is the game of golf. I mean, most people play golf thinking that it's a game of perfect, right? They want perfect shots, perfect putts, perfect positions. And, and I grew up playing golf like that most of my life. And then eventually I realized that golf was a game of recovery more than a game of being perfect. And that was I'm trying to remember who said that. And
the defining moment. Or
I believe it's Walter Hagen, the one that said that golf is a game of recovery.
oh, okay.
And that kind of changed everything, because then suddenly you're in a situation when you're in the trees, and the most important thing is that you're in the trees and you need to recover from that. It doesn't matter why you're in the trees. If somebody moved and distracts you, it doesn't matter. Your ball's there and it's facing you, right? And you need to recover from that. And then that key has kind of like helped me go through so many different challenges that have happened in my life. And like Mary and Mary knows, I mean, pretty much at the same time, there were so many different problems that I was facing at the same time while I was going through chemo and while I was going through all these things. So I think that was like my biggest lesson, right? I mean, it doesn't matter why you're there or what happened or why is this situation that way. You just need to recover as soon as you can from it, and with the best attitude, and a smile always helps. And I mean, when I was detected, I mean, when I was, here's a funny story. I was the director of golf of one of the most prestigious country club in Mexico at the time when I got detected. And this country club is like $2 million to join. I mean, it's one of the most exclusive country clubs there is. So I had like uniforms, and my pants, I had the gray ones and I had the blue ones and all the different things. And that day I had a golf tournament, and I had told the person that helps us at the house at that time that I wanted certain uniform in my ready for the next day. Yeah. And I just got grumpy, and I had a fight with my ex-wife and it was about nothing. And and I came, and she had put the wrong pants, and I had specifically told her that. And I mean, believe me, that's not the way my life was. But at that moment, I mean, that problem was so big that she didn't put the right, not my ex-wife, but the person that worked at the house. And then I went to the country club, and it was kind of like, and then I started having like a bump, and I went to the doctor at the club. And he said, "No, you need to better get that checked out." And well, by the end of that evening, I knew I had cancer. Yeah. So at the beginning of that day, I mean, the biggest problem was my ex-wife screaming at me. And then obviously that scaled up to the pants. And then I went to the country club, and, and then eventually I get home with a diagnostic, right? And options and x-rays and all these things. And that kind of puts things in perspective, Yeah. So that's kind of like the beginning of it. Where should we take it from here, Mary?
I don't know. I think we could talk a little bit about, being somebody that went through basically the same thing that you did, and how Empower Ourselves Through Cancer is going to be a place where we can all get together, but it's also for people that need to learn more about what somebody that has cancer goes through. So, yes, and I am so impressed that you have taken a foot forward to do that, along with me and Mary, and Mary's, that's wonderful that she's doing it too. And look at this right here is an educational piece, okay? So what I want to tell you. What I want to tell you is don't be nervous, because there's going to be other shows with you. There's going to be other shows with you. So if you don't fit it all in, we can do another one. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, as much as I can help, because we're all going through it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Mary?
Well, absolutely. And Linda, I want to mention this, that Rudy and I, it was about 2 years ago, almost this week, Rudy, when you came over to my house and we were sitting up on my porch, and you had just gotten done with chemo and radiation, and we were talking about what was next. And we talked about, we didn't know it was called Empowered Through Cancer. We called it the Badass Club then.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was our first.
We decided that was, and there will be a Badass Club, folks, I promise you.
Talk a little bit about that, because that's very important, Mary. Just mention the essence of that, because it's very important, because that got us through here, right?
It did. Well, where that conversation started, and is that to be part of the Badass Club, you had to have gone through something extremely difficult and come through to the other side with knowledge and with presence. And it's that place where you really open up to that next step of your life and you choose. It's an absolute choice. And that day on the porch, we were both in tears. It was a very difficult time. And we weren't sure what was going to happen next. And what we talked about is how are we going to move forward? And look at you now. You're in remission, Rudy. I can't tell you not only how grateful I am, but it gives me chills because I had to really work hard to keep my presence with you and see that outcome that we really wanted in the beginning, because I was scared. I was really afraid I was going to lose you. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that we are now here talking about this, I'm speechless. That's amazing.
That by itself is good enough, right? That by itself is good enough. Yeah, it was. Well, because I was, see, I've been detected twice. So the first time was in 2011, and then that's what happened at the first part of it. And but then like 4 or 5 years later, you know, I had a cough and I wasn't feeling good, and my girls were going to be turned 15, and you know, in Mexico it's like a big deal, so they were going to be in the States. And I was living in Mexico because my company is based in the U.S., but we worked out of Mexico. It's, well, that's another story, but. So my mom said, why don't you go get some x-rays, you know, and just make sure you're okay. And then you go back. We had a meeting at the, you know. So I said, sure. And here in Mexico, and this is something so important because this is what saved my life the second time. I go and I get detected. And I wish I had the picture so that I could share it to you guys. But they found a huge tumor on top of my heart. The doctor told I couldn't even go back to my daughters and in their quinceañera. The doctor said that it was. I mean, he said you're 2 weeks away, a month away. I mean, if we don't start these now, you're not going to make it. So the beauty about what happened here in Mexico was that I was able to go to these amazing, and I have maybe I can some other time I can share screens or something like that, but. I walked into a lab and I asked them to make me tests. I didn't need a prescription, and they gave them to me that same day. And then the doctor, I went to my pneumologist, and he's looked at it. He goes, "You need to go to an oncologist." And he said, "You need to go with him right away." I went to the doctor right away, and to make a long story short, we started chemos the next morning. I mean, from the time that I was detected to the time that I started chemo, I think it was like 26 hours.
Wow. Wow.
And it was in these, with amazing doctors, in amazing hospitals, and the whole 9 yards, right? So, I mean, that's also something really important because my ex-wife at the time wanted me to go back to the States and do all that. And I was like, the doctor was like, it's going to take him a month or so to see a doctor.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that time. And yeah, well, you know how it is. I mean,
yeah.
I saw 2 doctors. I went from the moment I said, yeah, I'm going to go get checked, right? The next morning I do my blood test, urine, and x-rays. And then they see that they find the tumor there. And I was able to react immediately, you know? Yeah. And I think that, Linda, that's to me, that's the most important thing. When somebody gets detected and when somebody is going through these, the most important thing they need to do is get informed.
Yep.
And act quick.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And time is of the essence. And you don't have time to screw around or cry. You need to make a decision and make it happen, right? Get it back to the fairway and get it up and down. That's like a golf term, right?
Yeah, and it was hard for me when my mother died and my stepfather, because they did not want any treatment, and it was hard for me, you know, to go through that, because I know, you know, when I had ovarian cancer, how my life turned around, I got better, and you know, all this stuff. So it was hard for me, but then I had to look at it like That was their choice.
That was their choice.
Absolutely, and they went through a wonderful program through hospice. So not all of us are the same in that aspect. But I know one thing that I took away after I had my ovaries taken out and everything, and I went through radiation and stuff like that. It was like, because I couldn't have children now or whatever. But the feeling to me was that I am alive. I'm alive. I'm alive,
Exactly. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
For sure. For sure.
You know you're leaving now. And before you were worried about your gray pants, right?
Yep.
Or I was.
Yeah.
That's going to become our new inner joke. I'm just going to bring up the gray pants.
Gray pants, and I remember.
For sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's so many different lessons, but I think that was the blessing afterwards. Just leave every moment, and I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to go surfing. I've never been surfing. I want to go surfing. I can do that someday.
You know what I'm about to do, Linda, today?
Don't tell me.
I'm buying a 1970 Westphalia Volkswagen van.
Oh.
And I'm going to just be touring it.
Nice. That's nice.
It has a camper inside, and I'm just going to go I live in Mexico, and my daughters live in the States. So I live in Austin. So I'm going to go see my daughters and Mary and back to work and stuff like that.
I think that's great. And it's obvious to me how much of a good friendship that you guys have. And that's why it's important to me, Ricardo, to get you to come back, come back and do more.
Sure.
Don't you think it would be, Mary? It would be a blessing because people will have questions, and I imagine that they can leave them on the Empower Through Cancer website, and maybe we can even have you come back like once a month. What do you think, Mary?
I totally agree. Rudy has a lot to offer, and Rudy I've given him he has full access to anything I'm doing and anything he wants to tap into. So, because for me, Rudy he's a huge part of my life in so many ways and has been an encourager for me. And so when you are working with friends and you are co-creating and really supporting one another, it makes such an incredible difference. And I don't know what Rudy's. Go ahead.
No. We pulled each other out of holes many, many times, right?
Yeah.
When you've had.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just making a.
Well, I feel like I make a good friend in you today, Rudy, too. And, Mary's been a blessing in my life, too. So I can totally tell. Yeah, she's just wonderful, wonderful. But I want to make sure that you two know how special that you guys are, working together and being able to bring this subject matter up and talk about it. Because being honest, we can educate people a little bit, because they have questions. Sometimes they don't feel like they can approach the person or, whatever it is,
Right. Exactly. And, one of the things that, I did surgery, I did chemo, I did radio. I'm not against the medical field in any way. But I also knew that I had to beat it in every single way. So I also went to detox clinics or, health clinics and all these other things, especially here in Mexico, that are, ancestral healings and with magic plants and all these things. With the huicholes and with the, so I also went that route, and I went to natural healing clinics that people have, So if anybody have any questions or or need more information about this, if you have a really bad diagnostic and you need to act quick, if you don't have insurance, there's a lot of options here in Mexico. Mm-hmm. We have amazing hospitals at a tenth of the price in the States, and fast. You can act quick. So whoever, maybe we can put my email or, it's rodolfosada@gmail.com. I'm sorry about that, but that's my name. In Spanish, it makes a whole lot of sense. But no, that's my email, rodolfosada@gmail.com. If anybody have any questions or need any information from here in Mexico or doctors or anything, hey, just let me know and I'm here to help.
That's so nice. That's really nice of you.
Thank you.
And we will also be setting up a site, and we will be putting this information together. Rudy, maybe you and I can work on putting on something on the Empowered Through Cancer Facebook site.
Okay.
The page that's already up. And one of the pieces that I want to say about Empowered Through Cancer is we have an amazing team of people who are helping build the structure. And what we decided is when we first started putting this together, I have definitely been through, almost died twice in the last 20 years. Of very serious illnesses and issues, but I've never had cancer, and so I have a team of people who are really, really dedicated to not only sharing their stories, but really starting to get down to answers and bringing forth specialists and people that have things to say about this journey, and then people who are actually going through it. And one of the big pieces, Rudy, that was important for us was that people understood is that there were two ways you could go about it. You could be scared to death, you could be angry, you could be bitter, or you could choose to be empowered and full of love and really take advantage of the time that you have and do the things that are going to make the difference in your life to improve it. And Rudy, that's something you and I talked a lot about, was the emotional and spiritual needs and things that needed to change in order for you to be able to heal from the cancer. And I think that was also instrumental here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way I learned it is 4 factors. It's how good you sleep, what's your eating habits, how active you are, and your entorno emocional is your emotional.
Yes.
But it's
emotional
not just
health. Mental health.
You're into, like, who you're with. I mean, who's your partner?
Relationships.
If you're in a toxic relationship, if there's drama in your life, it's in Spanish it's called entorno emocional, which I can't remember the term in English. It's like not just your emotions, but who you're around.
Yes.
And then, I mean, the day I left my house when I decided that I needed a divorce, I told my oldest daughter, I said, hija, I said, I would rather be outside the house than inside a box. And we were in such a, and I'm not talking bad about her, we were just in a really toxic relationship. And I think that was very, one of the things that I had to get away from. And so when I'm around negative people and toxic people, I just leave, and I just can't stay around in it, So that's also very important. So those are for me the 4 factors, and I try to do my best. I before the time goes by, I have a really good friend that actually she's starting chemo today. Her name is Norma Correa, and Norma, I love you, and she's also one of my best friends. We've been friends for like 20 years, and she's going through it. And I mean, Norma, I send you my best. You're probably going to hear this later on, but I love you, I love you, I love you, I love your husband, Brian. I love your daughters. I love all your family, and we're all with you. So maybe I'll put you like that about her. So
Norma, we're cheering you on, girlfriend. Yeah. We're cheering you on. We're on your team here. That's you got the empowered team behind you, and anyone who's going through this journey. What Linda and I and Rudy and many other people are doing here is we want to create a safe space of love and sanctuary, and a place where you can not only get through this, but you can grow. You can grow and expand.
Well, you have to grow. You have to grow to go through these.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why it's just be a badass, and the rest will take care of itself. That's why it's so important to work on yourself and grow from the inside out. And I think that's your best chance, right? And we're all gonna die, so might as well live.
Right. I agree with him on that. But I just got the signal that we've got 5 minutes to say goodbye. So we want to start out with Rudy, and then you, Mary, and then I'll do it. Well, go ahead. What I want, Rudy, is I want you to think about it, to give the whole audience a message of inspiration from you, or empowerment.
Well, I mean, I think that's what we were just been talking about, right? I think that when somebody decides that they're not going to fight, I think that's reasonable. I mean, I remember the second time when I was facing that, I already had lost one kidney, and I mean, gone through hell. So I told the doctor, I was like, look, you're asking me to go through chemo. I mean, maybe if I don't go through chemo, am I going to die in a month? He said, well, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I said, okay, but if I go through chemo, am I going to live? And he said, well, we're going to work on this. And he gave me a good hope. I said, okay, we're doing that. But I mean, yeah, sometimes if somebody I know it's hard for somebody else to respect that, right? You can't understand it, but you can respect it, right?
Right.
So if somebody decides that, well, they decide that. Now, if you're going to fight now and go at it in any single way, I mean, I did everything to cure myself, and I'm still working on that. I changed my health. I became a vegan for 3 years. Now I'm doing keto. I've done, even here in Mexico, I mean, there's a lot of treatments that I was talking about, like ayahuasca and different magical plants. I've done them because it's important to get into different consciousness, to change and grow and come out of these. So if you're going to fight, go at it, and always beat it through every single part you can. And if you're not, that's okay too, and just make peace with everybody and yourself, and enjoy it while you're here.
Thank you, Rudy.
So, and whomever wants any help, I'm here in Mexico most of the time, or in Texas, and whatever I can do to help, I'm here to help.
Thank you, Rudy. Mary?
I just want to thank you both for being here today and having this conversation. It is so exciting to me. It's really exciting to create another platform and to expand our Empower Your Life Today platform. And I want to invite everybody to join us, Empowered Through Cancer. And you can find us on Facebook. That's a page. Go ahead and like the page. And there'll be a lot of information. There's going to be lots of new stuff coming up as 2019 expands. And if you have a story, if you want to share your journey, if you are an expert in the cancer field, we want to talk to you. We are interested in connecting with you. So send us a message on our Facebook page. And thank you, everybody, for watching Life School 101 TV. You can also find us on Facebook and our website, lifeschool101.tv.
And
Bye.
This is Linda Carbonell. I didn't get to do my message yet, Mary. My message. She got caught. No, I'm just kidding. I am so glad that we did open this up. And Rudy, I'm so glad that you were the first guest here. And and this is going to be something that a lot of people are going to need, and we can encourage them and empower them, and and they can learn from us. And we have a way of bringing out how things we've been feeling, and stuff like that, and how we went through things. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, Rudy, and thank you, Mary, for being there to make sure that this gets off the ground, and we'll definitely have to do more and more and more. But anyway, this is Linda Carbonell, Rudy, and Mary, and now we really get to say goodbye for Life School 101.
Adios.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. This time, right?
Okay,
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
She means everything to me. She can lift me up, take me down. She can see inside of me, and I'm all rolled up inside her little arms tonight.